The views expressed on the Jerry Cahill CF podcast are that of Jerry Cahill and guests, and not necessarily those of the Boomer Esiason Foundation. Nothing on the Jerry Cahill CF podcast should be considered medical advice. Such advice can only be given by a physician who is experienced with cystic fibrosis. The Boomer Esiason Foundation, Jerry Cahill and guests cannot be held responsible for any damage which may result from using the information on this podcast without the permission of your medical doctor.
Welcome to Jerry Cahill's Living, Breathing, Succeeding podcast series. This show, CF, A Productive Life in Spite of Post-Lung Transplant Issues, was made possible through an unrestricted educational grant from Genentech to the Boomer Esiason Foundation. Today you'll meet Margaret Carfora. Marge is 36 years old and grew up in Lincroft, New Jersey. Marge was diagnosed at 3 months of age with CF and received a double lung transplant on November 11, 2004. In spite of a few bumps in the road post-transplant, Marge enjoys her career, has a very close-knit family, and is happily married to her husband Jimmy with 2 amazing children, Abigail and James.
Can you make me fix me a plate, babe? Babe, fix me a plate.
Despite all of the issues that I have faced in the last 14 years, I would absolutely do this again without question. I have no regrets about transplant, about the process. Even in the face of beating 3 cancers, I would still do this again. It's been the best experience of my life.
What was that deciding factor that, even though you may be a little bit afraid, that you said, look, I gotta go for it, I gotta do it?
Yep. So I was terrified of the fact that I needed a transplant. I thought that was, a scary notion. You're taking a very important organ out of your body and hoping another one works. But the ultimate, for me, deciding factor in getting a transplant was I just wanted to be alive. And I was surrounded by this wonderful family and my wonderful group of friends who I just didn't want to miss anything, and I wanted to be a part of it, and I really wanted to continue, and I felt that getting a transplant was my best chance of making that happen. I try to plan everything out as far out as I can with my doctor's appointments so that I fit it around my work schedule, but I have to be very aware that I have to be flexible in my schedule and change my priorities if something comes up with my health. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. When you go through the transplant evaluation, you're told several times you're trading one set of issues for the other. And now that I am 14 years post-transplant, I can see exactly why the doctors tell patients this, because you are trading one set of issues for another. So that's what I usually do. I do have cystic fibrosis-related diabetes, which needs to be maintained on a daily basis. And I've run into several issues post-transplant, which are more serious in nature, including post-transplant lymphoproliferative disorder, which needed to be treated fairly aggressively, cervical cancer, and breast cancer. I bounced back from the issues by just realizing how many wonderful things I have in my life, including my husband. High five.
All right. Did you get it?
Don't be. Yep, this is my husband annoying me. My 2 beautiful children, my parents who live 6 minutes away from me, my sister and her family, my 2 beautiful nieces who live right next door to me, and that's what keeps me going. Can you say hi? Hi. Being a mom is one of the greatest experiences I've ever been through. It has put everything into perspective of what's important and what's not. And all I want is for these 2 beautiful kids to be healthy and have everything that they need and most of what they want, because I don't want to spoil them. And it's also made me really focus more on prioritizing my health too, because I have to be healthy so that I can take care of them. I would say that you could cut my life into 2 parts, and the person that I am today post-transplant is very different than the person that I was pre-transplant because of everything that I'm able to do today and everything that I'm able to accomplish. And all of that is tied back to the fact that I can breathe and my body is working with me now instead of working against me. And there were a lot of times pre-transplant that I just felt my body was working against me. So really, a long time ago, I realized that my attitude would rub off on other people. And if I approach things with a fighting attitude and a good attitude and I can get through this attitude, then everybody around me would take that on as well. So I try to stay in that place. I have my moments, like we all do, where things seem dark and bleak and scary. But again, I just focus on that. Attitude is everything. And I think a good attitude when you're fighting a chronic illness goes a really, really long way. I always say that my biggest goal post-transplant is to be the longest surviving transplant patient. And I want that so that I can grow old with my husband, Jimmy, and watch our kids grow up and graduate high school and go off to college and accomplish everything that makes them happy in life. And that I just want to watch them and be very proud of them. And, you know, hopefully one day Jimmy and I can enjoy our retirement in a nice little beach community in New Jersey and watch our children grow up and accomplish their hopes and dreams.
Bye. See you later.
Come here, you have.